Well, there was a lot of comments about the fluffy mics.
Was there?
Yeah. So I'm trying to unfluff it.
This is going on the highlight reel. Hi everybody, I'm Cameron Dunn and this is Chris Steele and we're here for Live Sail Die. Day 2 of the America's Cup World Series has just concluded out here on the Waitemata Harbour, and a step up in racing from day 1. Some amazing close racing, penalties, close boat on boat action, and some really good results all round. You know, Ineos took a big step up today, looked like a completely different team. Team New Zealand showed their Team New Zealand speed, and the two, I guess, favoured challengers at this stage, Luna Rossa and American Magic, had 2 really good races sharing the spoils.
Hang on. I will. Hold the angle. You've got it. Oh, fucking hell. Rudder's just completely locked out here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest talking point was for me probably Ineos Team UK. Massive turnaround from yesterday and also previously in the week, where they've obviously been having a lot of gear issues and struggling to get the boat around the racetrack in one piece. They came out there today and gave the Kiwis a good old match race in plenty of different scenarios, particularly in the pre-start. Quite unconventional, the pre-starts today. I think the box with the boundaries was obviously quite skewed and very, very small given the spectator fleet and being confined close there to Northhead. So often the boats were entering and just having too much time to kill. So the conventional starts where you sort of see them come down to the bottom of that boundary and then sort of come up on the wind and tack on that starboard ley line. There was just way too much time to try and kill to be doing that. So we saw them obviously like reverse circling at times and ending up sometimes they're entering late, and there was a lot going on there. So pretty interesting. Even a few dial-ups and circles, plenty of penalties today, particularly with the Luna Rossa and American Magic match. And
yeah, I wonder if the race committee got that a bit wrong today, to be honest. I think having the pin end so favoured really kind of put the port entry boat on the back foot straight away. I'm not sure why they didn't change that all day. I think if they look back on that for tomorrow, hopefully they'll get that sorted, because that did put a lot of pressure on the port entry boat, and then the starboard entry guy coming in with control. Yeah, they had control, but because these boats are so fast, as you say, and the box was so small, it was almost they got to points where they didn't actually know where they needed to go with a minute left. You know, they were so close to the line. So that created a lot of interesting situations, some penalty calls. So it actually, from a spectator standpoint, made it better.
Yeah, and interesting that I think in every race, both boats always started on port, which is, the complete opposite to what you'd expect. We've seen some split tack starts and whatnot in the previous, yesterday, but, both boats starting on port in all the races to me was quite interesting. And yeah, I wonder if they just, got the race course selection wrong with that wind direction, maybe not figuring out that they didn't have enough room to create a big enough box there. But I mean, at the same time, it was exciting to watch, and then plenty of situations around the racetrack as well. So, for me, Ineos Team UK, big step in the right direction. They showed signs of pace at times when the breeze was up, or at least being able to make a boat race out of it. And, Ben Ainsley, to his credit, and Giles Scott did a pretty nice job of getting the boat around the racetrack, foiling tacks.
They'll go home. They'll go home happy, thinking, right, we sailed well today. They're not fast enough. They know that. They'll have stuff coming online to make it better. But yeah, they're not quick enough. That was clearly shown with Team New Zealand eventually stretching away on them both times. But they'll be really pleased that they dominated the second start and were right in both races for the first part. They passed Team New Zealand down the first run. So who would have put money on that?
Yeah,
at the beginning
exactly.
of the day?
No, so I mean that's really good from a competition standpoint, and for them obviously as well. They'll be obviously going back to the drawing board again with plenty of learnings to go through and data points to analyse from today against arguably probably the favoured team at the moment in Team New Zealand from a speed standpoint. And then looking across at the other two challengers who just had a good old dog match all day. American Magic with a pretty good control over race one after again, a very weird pre-start with the Italians being on the wrong side and picking up a pre-start penalty, and there's a lot of action there, and then the boat's going upwind, and American Magic had a pretty good opportunity to put a covering tack on Luna Rossa and almost capsized. So it'll be interesting to see what happened there with Dino. It looked like there was some sort of issue with the foil cantarm locking out, and they weren't able to get their old sort of dagger board out of the foil out of the water, and they almost sort of went over. So that was a pretty interesting point. But then, to their credit,
just going back to that one, Chris, I wonder if in that pre-start the Americans missed a bit of a trick there, knowing that Luna Rossa had a penalty on them. And following them into the line, I was sort of expecting them to push Luna Rossa further down the pin end and make it harder for them to offset the penalty, to drop that 50 metres behind that they need to do.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one because obviously when one boat gets a penalty, there's no real rush for the other boat to get back to the start line. Exactly. I mean, once you cross the line, they're going to have to slow down. So probably a bit of an unforced error there from the Americans going for that jibe. But, I thought the Italians were really hard done by because they had control, albeit they had a penalty. It was still before the start. They had control of the Americans. Americans sort of bore away around the bow of the Italians, and to avoid a big collision, the Italians had to go into a crash jibe, and by doing the crash jibe to avoid contact, they came off the foil and were dead in the water. And then American Magic, picks up the penalty and the offset, jibe back over on the foil, and then go straight into a luff. To me, it's a change of control. They got a penalty straight on the Italians, and then kind of sailed off. So interesting. I know it's not easy for the umpires, especially when all that sort of changing really quickly. But I thought it was just a bit of a tough end of the stick for the Italians because they were doing everything they could after they picked up a penalty to try and offset it. And
there'll be some good, honest discussions between the umpire team and the sailors either tonight or tomorrow morning, I'm sure, to try and iron out some of these bugs.
Yeah.
Because like we saw yesterday, even with the penalty with American Magic and Team New Zealand, trying to figure out how that actually got offset. They're learning every day too of this umpire team and the boats and the technology. I know there was a few issues again out there today with some of that. So, luckily it's not the Prada Cup yet.
Yeah, exactly. And then, we were lucky to obviously see the racing continue around the racetrack. There was plenty of situations, lead changes, some tacking duels. I think in that last race with Luna Rossa and American Magic, that was definitely the most tacks we've ever seen in a beat. There was a lot going on there, which is, cool from a spectator standpoint because it shows us that the boat's capable of racing sort of that hard, and no doubt the grinders would have been pretty tired at the end of it. But if they can push that hard and do that many manoeuvres in a race, then it's a sign for things to come that we can be expecting some more of that, hopefully.
These boats are proving to us how cool the concept was from the very beginning. I know there wasn't many people out there who really could understand how that was going to work, but so far they've been phenomenal. The amount of close racing, the way that the boats lose very little in the tacks, it's really proven to be good for the sport.
Yeah, so and then looking forward to tomorrow. It's obviously a big day, moving day, Super Saturday, getting ready for the finals on Sunday. So what do you reckon? Who's your money on for tomorrow?
Well, it's going to be a great day, with Team New Zealand racing both American Magic and Luna Rossa. So those three teams are battling out. Obviously, Team UK will just try and sail another good day like they did today. Similar conditions, forecast maybe even a touch lighter, more sea breezy. I think it's going to be a really hard one. Team New Zealand for sure have the edge on just straight line boat speed. But Ineos, they'll sail well. Prada look like they need to improve their downwind speed a bit. Seems to be there a little bit lacking at the moment. They're looking very good around the course in general. And American Magic, showing really good glimpses of speed. Certainly downwind looking very comfortable, but tacking seems to be their Achilles heel at the moment. They're going to need to improve that substantially before they can mix it with a team like Team New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to getting back out there tomorrow and catching more of the action. Thanks to you guys for tuning in, and just obviously a big shout out to all the sponsors and supporters of Live Sail Die, without whom none of this would be possible. So get on around it, support them, and that's supporting us. Cheers.
See you tomorrow.